Would you like to see football wherever you are in the world?
With NordVPN, you can get premium protection online and set your location so you never miss a minute of the content you usually enjoy.
Go to nordvpn.com/TSUW to get 72% off a 2-year plan plus 3 additional months absolutely free. Hello there, welcome to the Sheffield United Way. We are previewing Derby County versus Sheffield United. We've got another away game. Obviously, the last one was in the FA Cup. We are back in league action. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? We haven't played in the league for a long time. But before I get into it, I'm just going to bring Hal in straight away this time. How are you doing, sir?
I mean, Gary Sinclair better watch his step. That's all I'll say, because that was a big introduction. Well done.
I think Michael Buffer more. Actually, Michael Buffer's not doing it as much anymore. It's the long-haired guy, the long dread guy.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
you're on your own.
I don't know
no
his
idea.
name. I don't know his name. No. You don't even know who he is, do you?
Not a clue, no.
All right, okay, fair enough. This is 3 o'clock kickoff at Pride Park. If you're going, that's excellent. But if you're not, can't watch this game, can you, Hal?
No, it's not been chosen for live coverage in the UK, ... But if you've got a VPN...
Then what, Hal?
Then further dots could be added to the end.
Absolutely. Also, members, what can they get, Hal?
Members can get exclusive early access to current, former player interviews, as well as members of staff and sometimes even board members before anyone else, a whole week before the plebs that have to wait usually 5 to 7 days. It's well worth doing.
It really is. And the newest one is Mr. Derek Geary. Me and Hal were having this argument. I was going to call it the Del Geary podcast, and Hal said Derek. I don't think I've ever called him Derek. Let us know in the comments. Obviously, this is what we really need to discuss before we get into the Derby game. Anyway, leave it in the comments. Here are all the members at the bottom. They are getting the Derek Geary podcast before anyone else. Then the podcast is out next Thursday for everybody else, all the bottom feeders. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about last week's game. Now I'm going to get rid of Hal for a second. Bye. And we're just going to talk about the Wolves game very quickly, because we don't really want to reminisce too much about a 3-0 defeat away at Molineux. It did massively show the gulf in class between the two sides, and it shows that we're not really on their level right now. Saying that, we had 11 men out. So obviously, that's going to change things. We weren't out of it for the whole thing. It wasn't a 3-0 match. We created some big chances early on. Just didn't take them. Sharpie had one early. Then Didsy had 2 very big ones. And it's quite frustrating because I love the man. I think he's one of our best players on the ball. Just can't finish his dinner sometimes, can he? I think his problem is that if he's not got any time to think, he'll probably put it in the back of the net. But if he has too much time to think, he ends up dilly-dallying and thinks about it too much. But yeah, we didn't take those chances. They went the other end and scored. And then, yeah, that was it. Curtains. One thing that I will say, Hal, is that I thought the defending was absolutely atrocious in this game. And I know it's not our back five, our usual back five, but it was really poor.
They'll never have played together in a competitive game, and they were playing against Premier League opposition.
But they have played a competitive game before.
Yeah, they have played football before. But I think particularly in Gordon's case, he'd have been thrown in very late. He wouldn't have even known a week before that he'd been playing in that game. And to make his FA Cup debut in such a big game with Premier League opposition, I mean, they're not bad Wolves, are they? They're a very good side. That's where we should kind of emulate to be in a few years.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to get a rich owner that brings us in loads of Portuguese players. That's what we need to emulate, don't we? 30-odd million on a really young central Portuguese midfielder in the Championship. That's what we're going for.
I'll take it.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, Hal, last time out, what the hell happened?
It wasn't a great one, Nick. 20th of October, 2018. We have to go back for the last time out. We actually went to Pride Park in the league. It was a 2-1 win for the Rams, a goal after 19 seconds from Bryson. Chris Basham got an equaliser on 41 minutes. Rams striker Jack Marriott's clever flicked finish won the game for what was then Frank Lampard's Derby County with 13 minutes left to play. And that was all she wrote, a fairly forgettable match.
Yeah, it really, really was. I remember this really well. And isn't he a Wednesday fan as well? Oh, no, is he a Sheffield United fan?
Yeah, he's a Blade, Marriott, yeah.
I got confused because he played for Wednesday, didn't he, afterwards?
Possibly. I don't know any Wednesday
Yes, he
players.
did. Yes, he did, Hal. I don't know why I'm asking this question when you don't.
Des Walker, Chris Waddle, David Hurst. That's the only Wednesday players I've ever heard of.
And Del Gira.
Gira.
And if you'd like to see that, give us some money.
Hit join.
Yeah. We are vibing tonight, Hal. We are vibing so hard.
On it.
Anyway, so team news. Let's get rid of Hal because he's obviously not feeling it tonight, I don't think. Anyway, so the Bladesman, again, I'm going to give him a shout out because he tweeted out the players that he's seen in training. I think this is fantastic what he's doing. And I've not got the willpower to sit through and have a look at every single player that's been seen in training. So I'm going to go through them all. So available, hopefully, for this game that's been in training is Jono Missa, Bash, Berger, Bogle, Brewster, Burke, Davis, Dewhurst. It's great that Davis is back, by the way. Dewhurst, did say Egan, Ender, Freeman, Gordon, Guediora, Howrahan, McBurney, Ndai, Norwood, Olsen, Ozzy, Reece Harrington Davis, Robinson, Sharp, Slater, Wes. I'm not expecting you to remember them, but what I will tell you is that the players that are apparently missing, George Baldock, Jake Eastwood, John Fleck, obviously Jack O'Connell, obviously Morgan Gibbs-White, as he's still at Wolves, been assessed on that injury, but we are expecting to get him back. And Lise Mousse, even though we've seen him training in a West Ham shirt this week. Great. But I'm going to quickly run you through my team that I've gone for. Here it is on screen right now. So I've got Wes Fotheringham in the goal. We've got Bash, Egan, and I've gone for Davis at left centre-back. He probably won't play, but this is my preferred 11, really. If he's fit at all, I would have him in there. I would much rather see him in there than Jack Robinson, if I'm being completely honest. Then I've gone for Jayden Bogle at right wing back. I've gone for Ben Osborne at left wing back because Reece Harrington Davis didn't fill me with too much confidence against Wolves. And Ender Stevens, he was in training, but he hasn't played for such a long time. I think Osborne would slot in there absolutely fine. And obviously he played against Wolves as well. Or we could see him in midfield because that's where he started against Wolves. And we've got Norwood, Howrahan and Sander Berger in there too, thinking that Sander Berger is going to be slightly more advanced than he was for the Wolves game. Then Billy Sharp and David McGoldrick up front. I saw somewhere that they're expecting Bruce to start, but as he didn't play a minute against Wolves, and maybe they're kind of saving him for this game, but I'd still start with the two faithful in Billy Sharp and David McGoldrick and bring Brewster on if need be. So, Hal, Wolves, tell me all about it.
Yeah, it's Derby.
Derby. Tell me all about them.
Well, I'm glad we're not playing Wolves again. By the way, Iliman Ndai's got to be in every 11. I just want to get that out there. So,
he's
Derby.
He's only young.
Albeit with playing 3 more games, would be level with United had they not had a 21-point deduction. So they've not been a bad side this season. They've only lost 7 games, but they have the 4th worst expected goal difference in the league, 2nd worst attack on XG, 7th worst defence, an older defensive line as well, it's fair to say. Former Blades, some connections in there, Richard Stearman, Colin Kazim-Richards, Ravel Morrison. If you're looking for Sam Baldock, George's brother, his contract, I'm led to believe, has now expired. Derby are still without midfielder Biliek and left-back Buchanan. The injury. Goalkeeper Keller Roos hoping to return between the sticks. Maybe Ryan Alsop. You've got Shinnie, good player, played very well at Bramall Lane, could start in central midfield at the expense of Liam Thompson. Phil Jagielka's contract has been cancelled by Derby County. so he won't be eligible. Derby's administrators have been requested by the EFL to provide proof of funds that the club can complete the season without a takeover. Unfortunately for the Rams, without proof of funds, they're not allowed to extend contracts. They're not allowed to sign players. So that means even if they lose these players, they can't replace them. They've already got a threadbare squad. So no Jags versus the Blades for Derby. Jags, at the time of recording, is expected to join Stoke City until the end of the season. So we could see him again when we play away at Stoke. Derby County, possible starting lineup. I've had to change this about 7 times today with all this news. If a Baselli starts on the right of a 4-2-3-1, then either Jason Knight or Kamil Wozniak, I can never say that quite right, could operate from the left. Another option would be to keep Ibaselli at the right back and Nathan Byrne, missed the Coventry game due to a knock on the hip. He would sit this one out. Byrne, pretty decent player though, so I'm actually fancying that he will play. Allsop in goal, Byrne, Davis, Stearman, Forsyth at the back, Bird, Thompson, Ibaselli, Lawrence, Knight, and Plange. Definitely not a name that rolls off the tongue. So there's a possibility of Ibaselli at right back or Nathan Byrne, or Byrne at right back and Ibaselli further forward.
Wowzers. That's one hell of a week for Derby. Do we think that that's going to have any sort of impact on the current players there?
Yeah, I do. I think there'll be, because the administrators have basically given the players an opportunity to leave if they so desire, I think there'll be some question marks over will they remain at the club. I think many of them will. I think they've got a really good spirit at Derby. You can see it from not only the players, but the fans. I thought the fans were fantastic. At Bramall Lane, a game that myself and you and Bobby in the background all enjoyed, mainly because Sheffield United won. Also, we could have had defensive changes today, but John Souttar has signed for Rangers, so a bit of a blow defensively for the Blades as well. And I think there was 1 or 2 fans that were hoping that Phil Jagielka might come back, either as a defensive cover with a look to eventually being a coach. But it looks like Stoke have got him. He's always wanted to finish his career in red and white.
Absolutely. It's the wrong red and white, though. But I just pulled a face then. I do apologise. I do think that Phil Jagielka would be good in this side, but only as somebody that's a bit of a stand-in, really. Because we're really, really thin on the ground with defenders, aren't we?
Yeah, but Jags has shown, because he played most games for Derby, he's still got it. You need to look at the comments the Derby fans have written on Twitter. They love him.
He could play bloody anywhere as well, Jags, can't he?
Well, we might need, of course, with Robin Olsen potentially going to Aston Villa, but a goalkeeping cover. So he really could cover any position.
Absolutely. Very, very good there, Hal. Score predictions, Hal, go for it.
2-0 Blades. I'll say Ben Osborne and Billy Sharp.
Ben Osborne. Oh, we're expecting that one. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Blades win. I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. I can see Derby getting something out of this game, if I'm being completely honest, away from home. We only just beat them at home, and they've certainly got a lot better since then. So I'm still going to go 2-1 Blades win, and I'm going to go for a David McGoldrick goal, believe it or not, and a David McGoldrick goal.
Interesting. I'll just let you know who the referee for this one is so you can pull another face. The referee is Graham Scott. Now, he's actually quite a big name referee. He's from Oxfordshire. He's taken charge of just 13 games this season in all competitions, issuing 44 yellows, 3 reds. He's given 1 penalty, and he last refereed our 2 defeat away at Leeds in April 2021, a game in which Ben Osborne scored.
There you go. There you go, Hal. Who are you going to go for Play Connections first?
I am going to go for Paul PESCHI Solido, I think, for today. Pesh, a friend of the channel. What a great guy to chat to. Sold twice by his wife. That's a sentence you don't say too many times. Paolo Pasquale is his real name. He's from Scarborough in Ontario, Canada. And for the Blades, he actually played on loan initially in 2001. 5 games, 2 goals, then joined permanently, and 79 league appearances, 17 goals. Always remembered fondly, of course, for, oh my God, that goal against Forest in the playoff semi-second leg.
Absolutely love that goal. That goal will never get old.
Never.
Anyway, someone else that won't ever get old, because we've got him on the channel forever, John Brayford. We have a podcast on this channel with John Brayford. If you haven't seen it already, it's absolutely fantastic. And the beard is looking absolutely class as well. He has a skinhead on it too, which he's just growing it back at the moment for Burton. But anyway, less about beards and about John Brayford. I could talk about him forever. John Robert Brayford, 34 years old now, believe it or not. You wouldn't have thought it, but he is 34 years old, playing for Burton, but obviously played for the Blades. Before that, played for Derby. 109 games for Derby, only 3 goals. He scored 2 goals for us. Actually, scored 3 goals for us all in nearly 60 matches. So, yeah, same amount of goals, a lot less game to the Blades. Obviously, for the Blades, he was getting forward more. And he had that sexy beard for the Blades, which he didn't for Derby. So, Hal, who's your next one?
Rob Hulse, Robert William Hulse. And I think this really was a change for me that we saw for one of the first times that I could remember in my young life, a player coming from Leeds to Sheffield United in their prime. Because it was always the other way around when I was growing up that we lost our best player to dirty Leeds. But this time we signed him from Leeds back in 2006 for our assault on the Premier League. And he took to the Premier League like a duck to water. And I think had he not been injured in that game at Chelsea, a terrible injury, I do think the Blades would have stayed up because he scored goals, certainly in that season. Overall, his record doesn't sound that great, but that's because he sort of got them all before that injury. He was never quite the same player afterwards. But it was 50 league appearances for United and 8 goals. I thought a really top striker.
Yeah, he really was. And I think if anyone's seen him in that Premier League season for us, they will know that if it wasn't for that injury, he'd had a very, very long career at a very high level because he really wasn't the same player after that, was he?
No, totally right. He'd have stayed at the Premier League even if the Blades hadn't. But I think with him fit, like I say, we would have done.
Could you imagine him and Beattie up front together, which they were in the same side, but he certainly wasn't at the level that he was the season.
You're right. It wasn't quite the same. That would have been both of them on form in their prime. Incredible.
Yeah, sorry, Al. I thought you'd stopped. So I'm like, let's get Jayden Bogle on the screen. Well, there we go. Jayden Bogle. He's only played for 2 teams. That's the Blades and Swindon. 70 Swindon. What am I talking about? That was his youth career. I'm going mental. Sorry, mate. Derby and Sheffield United. 77 games for Derby. 3 goals. Again, you would have thought I'd have picked these on purpose. 77 games for Derby, 3 goals. 27 games for the Blades, 3 goals. So that is both players, both scoring 3 goals, both for Sheffield United and Derby, both being right backs. Who'd have thunk it, Hal?
Oh, no, you wouldn't have done. Absolutely. Just before we go, there is a bit of news that you can read in the Telegraph about Bristol City, Middlesbrough and Stoke City potentially facing points deductions, just like Reading and Derby County, who, of course, we're talking about in this preview. So according to the report in the Telegraph, the 3 clubs could be punished for breaching profit and sustainability rules. I just think that's something to keep an eye on. We're certainly not gloating because you've got to be careful in the Championship. You just never know how long you're going to be in it and how much money you might have to spend and how much you lose from those parachute payments. So it could happen to anyone, but you've got to keep your house in order. And I don't have any idea if this report is going to end up being something where we actually see action or it's just speculation.
Or is it one of them where you see it the season after or something that we've seen in the past? So let's see. We don't want that to happen because we want to get into the playoffs or get promoted on our own merit. But if it gets us into the playoffs and we get promoted, I'm not particularly that bothered.
I mean, we're due a bit of luck, aren't we?
We are due a bit of luck, mate. Even if it's bad, the expense of bad luck of other teams.
I'll take it.
Yeah, whatever. But we do want to get there on merit, and we will do under Heke. Even though we haven't said that he's a little bit ill, isn't he? He's not COVID, so get well soon, Heke. He's not going to be at the game at Pride Park. But obviously, big Stuart McCall or little Stuart McCall and big little Jack Lester. I'm not sure of the height of Jack Lester, but he's not a tall man. Neither of them are tall men, are they? Let's be honest. But
true.
Next to you, probably are tall men.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's leave it there. Sorry, Hal. Little jibe in there before we leave. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching. We really do appreciate every single person that has made it here today. And all, to everybody else that are watching this afterwards, get here earlier. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.